Think.
Barney tells of being out popping billies since before he was out of shorts. But the wind blows quickly towards a hoped figure, and he gets all googly-eyed and flats out down by the harbor, singing Italian. Rubbering shit's back, it's been twisted towards and eaten like whole. It's being cracked, or just your eyes loved or whatever, and conveying absolutely nothing. I felt love once like this before. Now my heart's on the diamond-encrusted floor.
Dude, I like the first half where it's like you just make up verbs. That's really fun.
Yeah,
You know?
I used to just kind of like make words up because it just felt right to me, and I didn't really do it for a really long time, so I kind of wanted to revisit it.
Yeah, no, it really works with like just like I mean that's kind of like goes hand in hand with like the theme we established for today, where it's just like very zany, you know?
Yeah, Zane.
What's what's it about?
So it's kind of like weird to like just kind of put out because it is kind of a clunky piece, but it's about kind of the perceptions that we all kind of have of reality and how everyone has their own unique ones, and some people view the world completely different than you. And when we're
Mm,
thinking about like the eccentric and zany things and cartoons, it's very exaggerated form of the world in a way that we don't normally think, and that's kind of where I went with that one. And that was kind of um, when I found myself writing this, I really wanted it to be a bit distant from me because I wanted to write from a perspective that I don't really have, I guess. And
that's
so
really interesting.
yeah, and I think that's where I started coming in making up like bullshit words because I felt like I was losing too much control and I wanted to gain it back in a weird way.
Dude, I was like thinking about that today as well, like what you said about like perception of the world and how like cartoons exemplify that in a really strange way by just distorting reality and presenting an alternate version of it, you know? Like, but like where my line of thought was coming from was, I was looking at, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but Philip Guston, he's like one of my favorite painters. And like, he is like, he's like this like abstract expressionist or whatever. And like, he would just kind of like paint things, but always like he'd always really fuck with the perspective. Like, proportions would be blown out and weird and stuff like that. And that just like got me thinking to like, that was something that me and Matt were actually talking about today too. We were talking about like old art and how like it took like a while, until they got to a period where they could realistically convey perspective. And I was, just kind of the thing in the back of my head during that entire conversation was like what if reality just kind of looked like that to people, like to what degree can you
Yeah,
artistically represent something, like I don't know, it was kind of like I was kind of trying to imagine what it would be like if life imitated just that,
yeah. Um, I don't know. I think to an extent that is kind of people's perceptions, their art, because they tend to accentuate things that they deem more important and things that stand out to them more. And like I kind of know Philip Guston a little. He uses a lot of like very warm colors. That's like the thing that always
Yeah,
stood out to me the most.
he uses a lot of
Um,
pink, yeah.
yeah, and I don't know, just upon like analysis of like a lot of other artists, like there tends to be, a lot more like artists who more use like strictly like cool tones, and I always thought that was like the one of the biggest things that stood out to me with Gaston.
Mm.
Um,
Can you read your piece again?
you
I
know,
kind of lost track of it in the conversation.
yeah, sorry, it's a pretty fucked up piece.
I'm like trying to wrap my head around it.
All right, all right. Give me a sec. Barney tells of being out popping billies since before he was out of shorts, but the wind blows quickly towards a hoped figure, and he gets all googly-eyed and flats out down by the harbor singing Italian. Rubbering shit's back, it's been twisted towards and eaten like whole. It's being cracked, or just your eyes loved, or whatever, and conveying absolutely nothing. I felt love once like this before. Now my heart's on the diamond encrusted floor.
Hello?
I really don't know what to say.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
certain.
kind of went like really like I don't know. I've been very like I wrote it today and I've been like really like jittery and I don't know. I'm kind of like losing versus my brain and my control. So it was really just this like it was truly zany because I was zany, I guess.
I feel like that like lack of control really comes through with like the first part about like, you know, the guy taking pillies and like freaking out because he saw like an apparition, you know? Like just somebody like so fucked out of their mind on pills that like they're seeing things that aren't there, you know?
I guess, yeah. I mean, that's your perception of it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's my cartoon reality.
that's your zany reality. That's your zany, twisted, goofy world.
That's my dark, twisted, messed up, no good, wacko fantasy.
Your bonkers, boingo, scoopy, doink, doink world.
It kind of feels
Mother
like Popeye. When I try to
motherfuckers.
visualize it,
Like
I feel
Popeye?
like yeah, I feel like Barney is swaying back and forth as he walks down by the harbor to accordion music, like an old cartoon.
Yeah, no, you know, we did talk a lot about cartoons when discussing this theme, and I mean, you guys are pretty well aware that I'm an avid Popeye fan.
Yeah.
So when I think of cartoons, Popeye always comes to mind. That and like Ed, Ed and Eddie.
Popeye's a hero, dude. He beats up rapists.
He does. I love him.
Literally every Popeye villain is just a rapist. That's all their character chalks up to.
Yeah,
That's true.
they always like kidnap Olive and like smack her ass and shit.
Yeah, it's horrible. All right,
Popeye's
Matt.
the real American.
Matt, do you want to grace our ears?
Yeah,
Um,
sing.
Mine is about 5 sentences long. I struggled for a little while to figure out what to write. I wrote like two or three different things, then finally landed on something I thought about like 2 months ago
Hmm.
because I don't know how well it fits into the theme of cartoon or zany or whatever, but I first envisioned it as like a little comic strip when I was thinking about it.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm really interested to hear what you got for us because me and George talk about cartoons all the time, but I don't really have those discussions with you.
I see this as like a comic book strip. I couldn't really figure out what I wanted to write about for this. I tried two or three different things and then finally just landed on something I started writing, or at least an idea I conceived of probably like a month ago now, which I initially envisioned as a comic book strip, just like a colored one in the Sunday paper or something. So
Sweet.
it's very short. It's called Monk Recollection. A few days ago, I was standing in line at the bank when a Buddhist monk walked in. He had the full orange robe, shaved head arrangement, and I realized that I recognized him. I went to high school with the guy. He had always been quiet, the kind that wore self-consciousness on his sleeve, and I remembered hearing he'd left for Tibet after we graduated. It had been 3 years. So I approach him and we catch up. Then I ask how he's liking the monk lifestyle. He pauses for a second, searches his head, and then goes, eh.
I love this one. It's so funny. I love the idea of just a lukewarm monk, like doing all this intense, like spiritual training and just like being like, yeah, I guess, like just you know, just not being fully invested in it. That's so fucking funny.
It's
I'm, I'm just so amused by the idea that this is supposed to be the most spiritually enriching, holy lifestyle that you can lead, and he's just like, could be better.
yeah. He
Yeah,
just answers with an eh.
two-letter text.
I I really like that. I really like monks, and I mean, you guys, I like just like meditation and like just you know that stuff's kind of like cool to me. I don't really talk about it too much, so I'm never like well prepared to. but like I don't know. Whenever I hear like anything about like monks, I usually like try paying extra attention, and so I was like really listening to that, and I was like waiting for what the monk had to say, and you're just like, eh. And I was like, oh shit! That one threw me off, and I really fucking like that.
It's also really funny within the context of this podcast because we're usually like, you know, it's usually very dense writing with like a lot of like layered shit, you know, like you kind
Yeah,
of really have to like there's a lot to unpackage in like every line usually, and to just come at us with that where it's just like a setup and a punchline is really fucking funny.
Dude,
yeah.
I was thinking about that the other day. How often we're just depressed as hell on this podcast. I
I
feel
think
like we have to we got to balance it out a little bit.
no
Dude, I think that's what this episode is. It's just funny shit. Like
every
it's I feel sorry, go on.
no, you're good. Every single week, I try not writing something depressing, and I always do.
It's really hard, dude. It's I don't know. I don't think writing depressing shit is bad though, but I do
It's
like
an
the fact
outlet.
that we're doing something lighter for this episode.
Me too. I think it's like this is a pretty good outlet for us because I think we're all pretty like introspective dudes. We think a lot, and with the world and like having a mind or whatever, shit gets sad, and it's good to just like
Definitely.
shoot it all out onto the internet or whatever.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna
It
shoot it
kind of
all over
feels
your
like
bitch.
Yeah, I'm gonna bust my brain juice on your back. I'm gonna
I'm
blow
gonna dip
your
my thumb in it. I'm gonna dip my thumb in it and draw on your face like Simba.
I'm gonna blow your back out with my cerebral cortex, bro.
I'm
I'm
gonna
a
reach.
sapiosexual, bro. I'm only attracted to intelligence. That's all I
I'm gonna
got.
I'm gonna wrap my hand around your pretty little neck and rip your spine out.
Might take you on a date.
Thanks.
That's it.
But man,
What?
we're stupid as hell.
We're horribly off topic. I'm reading my fucking story.
All right,
I'm reading my fucking story.
read it. Get this over with so we could go on our date.
Alright, jeez, don't rush me.
Babe.
Okay, this one doesn't have a title. This one, Matt saw the first draft of this because I was up one night and it was a humid southern night and I felt really inspired. I just felt like writing, and I think we were having a text conversation, so I just started writing in the text message box, and I was just kind of making shit up as I went, and I wanted it to be like goofy and funny. Um, this is very much inspired by if you go on Google.com and you search the saga of Blood Ninja, it's like it's like an archive of these text logs that this guy he would primarily use the username Blood Ninja and like go on like online sexting like websites and just fuck with people on there. And this is very much inspired by that because I love that shit. It's so fucking funny. I highly encourage anybody to go and like read that shit because it makes for a very entertaining 40 minutes. Okay, I initially wrote this back in November and I revised it on January 28th, is what the notes app is telling me. Infertile. I'm gonna title this. You know what? Yeah, that's the title for this one. It's Infertile. I'm naming this one Infertile. I'm naming it right now. I slink down out of the bed we're sharing, and in one smooth serpentine motion that flows through my entire spine with the grace of an infertile iguana, I remove my sleeping cap and melt into a pair of slippers, bunny themed. I disappear out the window and down the fire escape in 6, 7, 8. 8. 8 gleeful steps, and I find myself greeted by the cool night air. I pop a squat and light a cigarette. The sound of the lighter reflects off the walls of the alley like some kind of ghastly warning. It's never stopped me before, or whatever. You peer out the window to the sight of me throwing rocks at cats, the smell of stale rainwater, and the sound of a raccoon sifting through the trash. You call out to me, like a siren, or a foghorn, or an infertile iguana, but I simply stare back at you with eyes behind a blue-tinted wraparound fortress. I sneer as I rev my Harley and ride off into the sunrise.
The infertile iguana.
There's nothing you can say about it. It's fucking stupid.
This
I
feels
just
like a Pilot Red Sun video.
I it really feels very like animated. You could really feel every single step and motion that this character makes. I don't know, you did a really good job like visualizing it.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's like the main thing I wanted to do was like movement, I guess.
You know,
I can feel it entirely clearly, I think.
like you talk about like slinking out of bed and like hopping down the stairs and stuff like that. I could just kind of imagine like their body like stretching and moving and like little dust clouds and sound effects playing as they just kind of
Yeah.
There's a trope in old cartoons where somebody will start running and then their body will catch up to them a second later. And that's how this entire thing felt to me. That's the captured motion.
Yeah, it's like their legs run out from underneath them, and their like body follows like 1 second later. Yeah, not a lot of substance to this one, but you know it's fun.
It's so strange. It's like a wannabe clown leaving the bed of a hookup halfway through the night.
Dude, that's basically exactly the vibe I was going for. Is just like I was really like pleased with the idea of like just like being in the middle of a hookup and just the person just gets up and starts like they just become like a fucking cartoon character like halfway into it. Like somebody you thought was extremely sexually attractive, just doing that is so fucking funny to me. Like they just like leave or like I guess it's like post hookup. Like they're both like in bed and like asleep, and you're awoken by the sound of this guy running down the fire escape and like throwing rocks at cats and like riding his Harley away. It's just so. I really like the visual of like describing like what he's wearing, like the bunny shoes and the sleeping
yeah.
Yeah.
cap, and just like wearing that while like riding on like a Harley Davidson motorcycle is so fucking funny to me.
Yeah, they contrast.
Yeah.
It feels like
It's
the nightmares of an incredibly insecure stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
it's
It's fantastic.
it gives me some Cornelius Sludge vibes.
Honestly, yeah, it is a little fiendish in the way we tend to be.
It's very very Lester. How Lester of you.
I think I think
Becoming a
Lester. Sorry, what?
I was gonna say becoming a cartoon character, or at least being terrified that you're gonna become a cartoon character in the middle of sex, is probably something like Throckmorton's delusion.
I think you might be onto something.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think so. I think that is indeed Throckmorton's delusion.
The diagnosis is in. Tell it to me straight, doctor. Am I gonna live? It's hard to tell. You're suffering from a severe case of Throckmorton's delusion.
Wow, 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 wow.
Wow, wow, wow.